You want answers? I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Welcome to Truth and Logic, the weekly talk show that uses logic to explain the truth.
And the truth shall set you free!
Here are your hosts, David Cross and Duran Montgomery.
Good afternoon. You're listening to Talk Zone Radio. This is Truth and Logic with Duran, David, and Michelle. I'm Duran.
It's David.
And Michelle is on vacation this week. She's party rocking. Have a good time. Don't party too hard, and we will see her next week.
Even Las Vegas.
It's 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, and depending on where you're at in the world, family, you can adjust that time accordingly. We'd like to thank you for listening and welcome you once again to our weekly open forum discussion as we talk about current events and social issues. We are live, family, and the phone lines are open. We can be reached at 888-GO-FOR-IT. That's 888-463-6748. And before we get it started, let us just say that the thoughts and views expressed on Truth and Logic are those of its host and not necessarily reflect the thoughts and views of Talk Zone Radio, Syndication Networks, LLC, or any of its subsidiaries or affiliates. Now, having said that, we need to get into today's topic, which is a combination of Black Lives Matter along with police brutality and
selective outrage.
Selective outrage. And having said that, we're going to start the day off with
Drop that beat.
Let's
right
give it
about
to 'em, baby.
Now. Boy, hey, I've been thinking about this all week because I've been thinking about Miss Curiosity, Nurse New Orleans, OG Before Christ, TD, JT, and the rest of the pro-black
Robert
red.
Hines, Amiel Harper.
And the rest of the pro-black, red, black, and green back to Africa. Now, police in Chicago have stopped they pretty much broke down the stop and frisk to a trickle. They down 79%. Murders done went up. Murder is 51 people that have been murdered in the city of Chicago in January.
Actually, yeah, first 31 days of the new year, 51 people died. How many of them were attributed to the police?
0.
How many of them were attributed to black people?
100%.
51.
And over 270 people have been shot in the city of Chicago. None by the police. The first police shooting was February 1st.
And dude was shooting at the police. This is documented. This is fact. We can't make this up.
So now I'm just curious. I'm Mr. Curiosity right now because I just want to know. You know, everybody out here trying to protect. We gonna call them the bum, and bum stands for the black unaccountable male. Everybody got an excuse on why this black savage is doing what he's doing. You know, oh, well, the white man, we don't own any planes. The white man own planes. Well, if the white man told your dumb ass to jump off a bridge, you gonna do it. We don't bring guns into this country. The white man bring guns in the country. If the white man told you to shoot yourself in the head, you gonna do it.
If he told you to take this bottle of Clorox with a long straw and sip slow, would you do it?
They probably will. So, now, going with that, I had Nurse New Orleans tell me that, well, I don't see any correlation between the stop and frisk being down and the black on black crime. Really? You got to be the dumbest ass in captivity. You got to be one of the dumbest people I've ever heard in my life. You just talk just to talk, Nurse New Orleans. Now, I could tell you one thing. I could tell you this. If I'm in a group and I go somewhere that's predominantly white, 9 times out of 10, I don't fear for my life. I mean, you got that batch that, you know, they out there, they doing stupid stuff. But you go around a group of blacks, yeah, a lot of times you fear for your life.
Let's look at it like this. We're already at over 4 murders per month for the year, and we're only a month and a half into the year.
Yeah, that's sad. That's sad. And here's another stat, Rob Hines. 13% is what black people represent in the United States. But they commit 53% of the murders. That's a fact. Look it up.
Yeah.
Look it up. 53%. Now, that would be a good stat if you said black people represent 13% of the U.S. and they represent 53% of college graduates. We appraise that.
We should praise that. Not sure we would, though.
Yeah. So with that being said, we just want to come out, and I want to make a lot of people feel uncomfortable because I want you all to call. I want you all to tell me maybe we're wrong. Maybe we got this all twisted because I'm trying to figure out, y'all say black people, the police need to leave black people alone. Police leave black people alone.
And the crime is going up.
Crime is going up, just like in Baltimore, just like in Ferguson, just like in all these other places where these pro-black, red, black, and green, black to Africa want to sit up here and march. See, y'all let these Black Lives Matter lesbians come in and get y'all all riled up, and then they go back to the comfort of their home. And y'all got to deal with the repercussions.
Did you just drop the mic on that one?
Boom.
Now let's just start by saying, okay, first of all, because some people may think that we're a little angry, and I am, but I'm not angry at what you may think that I'm angry about. I'm angry at people not taking responsibility for what's going on. Everybody wants to point the finger at somebody other than themselves.
I'm angry at this coffee that I got $15 an hour and ain't put no sugar in it.
Okay, so all right, but I'm angry at the fact that everybody wants to point the finger, but nobody wants to take responsibility for what's going on. Here's the reality: last year, police. 7% of the violent crimes perpetuated against African Americans or blacks were by law enforcement entities. Okay, 7%. 93% of the violent crime perpetuated against blacks were by other blacks or minorities, most times Hispanics. These are facts. I'm not making this up. You can look it up. It is what it is. If I have $100 and I give you 7, I still own the majority of that 100, 93. Last time I checked, 7 will never be more than 93. Now, one death by a law enforcement official against a black man, white man, anybody is one too many. However, they're only a piece of the puzzle. They don't make up the puzzle. They are not the majority of the problem.
Right.
And to be honest with you, the violence is only a byproduct and offshoot of a bigger picture. But we ain't even looking at that. You got some papers for me, man?
You know what? I'm
not ready to start this edutainment section yet, man.
February 1st, because I saved this paper for today. It talk about the ACLU effect, and it's what's causing the spike in gun violence. Now, when I talked to Nurse New Orleans, she told me, I explained to her, the stop and frisk is down 79%. She said, good.
Okay, good. Okay.
And I'm like, well, crime done went up. I don't see any correlation between that and the gun violence. Wow, that's why I say she got to be the dumbest person ever. I mean, but you know what? I saw something. A dumb person could never be wrong because they don't have enough information to be right.
There you go.
So, but
certain people not worth arguing with because in their mind they right. So whether they wrong or not, in their mind they right.
That's why I call it your truth versus my logic.
There it is.
And it saddens me that we sit up here and we have what you call the black unaccountable male. Mm-hmm. Because regardless to what this male does, with the exception of paying child support, that's the only time that the black man has to show some type of accountability. It's child support. But he go out there and shoot somebody. Oh, well, the white man brought the guns into the country. He go out there, he's a drug dealer. Oh, we don't own any boats. We don't own any poppy fields. But let's even take it a step back. If you feel like you're supposed to be pro-black and you're a drug dealer or you're a gangbanger and you shooting other blacks or selling drugs to other blacks, what sense do that make? Because if I feel like the white man is out here and they taking advantage of me, when I sell my drugs to the white man, when I go out there and shoot the white man, I'm not advocating killing.
Right. But they rationale don't make no sense.
It really don't. I mean, it's sad. It's sad in the mind frame. It's sad in the thinking because we give criminals so much power that is sad. And she told me, she was like, well, if you look at the other races, they don't talk about the other, the unfortunates.
Okay. Oh,
they don't hang out with them.
Right.
They don't associate with them.
Right.
They don't make excuses for them.
Right.
You go to Evergreen and see how many of them associate with trailer trash.
Okay.
I mean, let's call it what it is. It's called Truth and Logic for a reason. I mean, yeah, you might have some in your family. They might show up to a couple family events, but they're not hanging out with them.
Right.
But now go to, I don't know, what's a upscale black neighborhood, predominantly black.
Hyde Park.
Go to Hyde Park, and I bet you a lot of them still hang out with the people in Ogdale Gardens.
I'm glad you brought that name up because I will be speaking on them later.
I'm gonna call it like I see it,
Yeah.
because today is the day I want a lot of people to feel real uncomfortable. I want a lot of people to really sit back and think.
Well, when I promoted today's show, I said get ready to piss a lot of people off, and it is what it is because we're not gonna talk the status quo. We're not gonna go along with the line. We're not gonna toe the line. That's not what we're here to do. If you uncomfortable listening to the show, then that's good. If you're uncomfortable with what we're saying, that's good, because the bottom line is that we need to quit saying the same shit because we're not getting any different answers.
Right.
As a matter of fact, what we're getting is a worse product.
Right.
And we're using too many excuses, the same excuses for why we thrived and did what we did and came up and came together in the 50s and 60s are the same excuses that you're using for why we're not doing shit now. And that's not right.
What they say insanity is when you keep doing the same thing over and over and over but expect different results.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's happening.
But and we're not even doing, we're doing less.
Yeah, that's true.
We're doing less.
That's
and
true.
we expect more. And you got a lot of people that give you a lot of lip service, a lot of people that want to be activists, but they don't know how to go about being activists. And so they're talking loud and they don't even understand something simple as chain of command.
Right.
You got cats standing in front of the cameras and the news microphones and saying stupid shit like, oh, well, Obama need to come talk to us. Yeah, like he ain't got nothing else to do. like running this country, he gonna come talk to you.
Yeah, he gonna drop everything he doing to come talk to you because you're important.
I mean, and don't get me wrong, you are important, but there's a chain of command. There's a pecking order that you got to follow, and you need to start holding people accountable that's lower, that's more accessible to you on that pecking order. But see, you so busy trying to beat your chest and get in front of the news cameras, you probably don't even know what the hell that pecking order is.
They don't. But I mean, we talking about the same people that gave all these aldermen a pass for Laquan McDonald.
I'm glad you brought that up because I'm going there.
They gave the aldermen a pass, but they mad at the mayor and the district attorney.
Mm-hmm.
So the aldermen that voted for this, the aldermen that helped cover this up, oh, they're black. That's the only reason. Okay.
Whatever.
Okay. And I mean, just think about it. We give President Obama a pass on when he do stupid shit. I'm sorry. I mean, hey, first black president. I'm glad
He really wasn't, but go ahead.
Well,
And I ain't talking about Bill Clinton, but go ahead.
I know. Well, that's you go past 80s, and a lot of these people don't even know anything. But
Because if you know anything about what a Moor is, or what the term refers to,
well,
I ain't got time to educate on that. But go ahead.
But hey. You made me lose my train of thought about I was going.
My bad. Well, I tell you what, why you picking up that train of thought? Because this first 15 minutes then drove by. It flew by. But that's what happened. I got so much stuff going through my mind right now. Let's go pay some bills, gather our thoughts, and come back. It's Truth and Logic, y'all.
Give us the truth. That's what we need.
Truth and Logic.
Truth.
Back to your hosts, David Cross and Deron Montgomery.
All right, family, we coming back at you. Phone lines are open, 888-GO-FOR IT. That's 888-463-6748. This is Talk Zone Radio, and we are Truth and Logic. I'm Deron David. And Michelle is on vacation again. So before you all start texting us, tweeting us, or whatever, like, oh, where's Michelle? Is she coming back? Yeah, she'll be back. She's turning up a little bit. So as we get back, we're gonna start. We're gonna jump into this edutainment portion, and it might take up the whole 15 minutes. I'm not really sure, whatever. But when we talk about Black Lives Matter, we're gonna get off of the violence aspect of it, because Black Lives Matter, it should matter more than when somebody gets shot. It should. Let me say that. Let me rephrase that. It should matter more than when a law enforcement entity shoots a black man. It should matter when black people kill black people. But take away the violence, it should matter social, economically, educationally, healthcare, and financially. We pay no attention to this. And a lot of these things are reasons why they fester, they harbor, and they birth the violence that we're privy to, I guess you could say right now. So when you look at Black Lives Matter, let's look at it socially. So socially, we look at Black Lives Matter and we say, okay, well, everybody wants Rahm Emanuel to be fired. Everybody wants Rahm Emanuel to step down. They want something to happen. Okay, well, let me ask you something. When was the last time you attended a town hall meeting when you heard that a school in your community was closing? Go ahead, take your time, think about that. I'm pretty sure ain't nobody gonna call in and tell us. I'm gonna venture to say 80% of y'all have never attended any type of town hall meeting. Now, you brought up Argyle Gardens earlier. Now, one of their charter schools in the area was being closed. They held a town hall meeting. I was at the town hall meeting. I'm not going to tell you why, because really what happens in the gardens does not affect me directly, because I don't live in that community. However, how many people would you say live in Argyle Gardens? About 2,000?
I think it's around
3,000 people. Okay. At this meeting, there was like 20 or 30 people. If you take security personnel out, you have maybe 15 to 25, maybe.
Right.
Okay. So you have 20 people, 30. Let's take the larger number. You have 25 to 30 people that show up in a community that holds, because Argyle is a small city unto itself, really. Right. So you got 3,000 people, 30 people show up about a school closing. You couldn't even fill the gym to express discontentment and concern about the education of your kids. But you're mad. Everybody got something to say. Oh, that's bullshit. They taking the education away from my kids. Why you didn't show up? You can't tell me you was at work, because ask me what time the meeting was.
Probably 5 or 6.
7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. Where was you at? It probably didn't want to miss the latest Housewives show or some shit like that. It is what it is. So now the question is, before you go firing the mayor and asking him to step down, who do you think that shit had to go through for the mayor when he said, I want to approve this? Who do you think had to stamp it and say, all right, cool, let's do that? Oh, my fault. Those aldermen that you don't want to talk to. They are some of the highest paid part-time employees that I've ever seen, because the lowest check for an alderman is between 60 and 80,000 for 20 hours a week. And they don't even really, they're not even there really 20 hours a week. They may log 20 hours, but they, you know what I'm saying? So no one's protesting and no one's picketing and marching to the alderman's office saying, hey, why are these schools closing?
I got a question. How many people know who they aldermen are?
Dig that. And I'm going to take it another step further. If you live in the suburbs, you don't have an alderman, you have what they call a committeeman, which is the equivalent of an alderman.
Right.
So when you hear of these school closings, why is nobody mad? Why are people perpetrating like they mad? They talking mad, but there's no action.
Selective outrage.
Okay, let's call it that. So socially, we have morphed over into it educationally. And we all know that when you have high numbers of unemployment and high numbers of a lack of education, you have high numbers of crime, right?
True.
When the crime goes down, that means that people are working, people are getting educated, whatever. I mean, statistically, historically, all of this can be, okay, it is what it is. Now, Why don't Black Lives Matter when we start talking about health care? We have elderly who can't afford health care. What are we doing to make sure that's taken care of?
Right.
Nobody want to talk about that?
No,
We
they
just
really
want to
don't.
talk about when people get shot by the police. That's all we want to talk about? Because it go and none of this can come together unless you have what we're going to call is financial stability. As a community, we have to be financially stable. Am I right about it?
True.
Okay, so we can't have financial stability if we don't support black business.
Look like we got Michelle calling for vacation.
Oh, wait a second. Before I go back into this, Shelly Shell, what's up?
What's going on?
Say what's happening to the family, baby.
What's going on, people?
Did we hype you up? You was like you had to get in on this real quick?
I just got in on it because I just looked at the time. I'm a couple of hours different, so I had to realize what time it was. Plus, my phone is kind of dying right now. So
Okay.
I had to make a sacrifice to call in.
I'm pretty sure the family loved hearing your voice because I ain't want to get no text messages like, where Michelle at? Is she coming back? You know, making it seem like me and David ain't doing what we do. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Don't worry, I shall return. I just want to make a quick statement that Black Lives Matter movement is a way broader range than it pertains to just being about police brutality and things happening with black people.
Okay.
So I believe it is definitely a wider range of issues thanks to that hashtag in my mind.
No, what? No. You about right about it. You about because I'm about to go into this financial and economic empowerment on their ass and let them know how Black Lives Matter with that too. Because
Okay.
because some of the same people who don't want to support black business because we charge too much will go stand in line and for 3, 4, 8 hours to get a pair of $150 Jordans, but they gonna pay $600 for them.
I was about to definitely go there.
You know, see, in order for you to have a voice, you have to have economic empowerment. Am I right about it?
True.
Okay, so in order for us to have economic empowerment, the dollars that you spend should have to go through the community 8 times, at least 8 times, before they leave the community.
True.
But we won't support each other. Now, and just to let you know, I practice what I preach. I smoke cigars. There's a company called Stogie Life. I support the hell out of them. Okay, there's when I go get my nails done, and yes, for those, yes, I do because my wife don't like me touching her with rough hands. So, I when I go get my nails done, there's a black lady that works there. I wait on her. It doesn't matter how long I have to wait. Shout out to Renika. Don't matter how long I have to wait. I give her my money.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And I've been talking to her like, yo, when you gonna open up your own? Because I'm gonna bust her doors down.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because I believe in supporting that business. But people say, well, okay, so you'll go to the Koreans and say, well, they charge less than black people. Okay, well, check this out here. It could be 10 Koreans in there. All 10 of them, a portion of their money is going to the shop. Another portion of their money is going back to Korea to help the family. Then they keep a portion for themselves.
Right.
So they have more people contributing to what they're doing. Whereas as a black business owner, it's just you. Mm-hmm. So you might have to charge instead of $12 for a minute, you may have to hit me for $25. Right. It happens. But whatever, is that gonna break you? Is that extra $8, $10, whatever? Is that gonna break you?
No.
If it's gonna break you, you probably don't need to be doing the shit. No way. You know.
I believe in good customer service. You got good customer service.
It.
That's where I'm going.
That's it. That's it. But I mean, you know, and oh my good. Okay, so let's take this down. We pool all our money together. Okay, and we develop an economic system within our community. Guess what? Now they're gonna listen. When we go to them and say, you know what, I want this, I want that, whatever, they gotta listen because we coming to them with money.
Right.
Right.
Right now, we just coming to them and we bitching about something. They don't want to hear that shit. They like, oh, whatever, you know, and they gonna coddle you. And long enough to get you to shut up.
It's like putting a Band-Aid on a gunshot wound.
Pretty much. Pretty much.
Michelle, go on and enjoy your vacation, baby. We'll see you when you get back.
Play
Thank you much.
play $5 for me.
No problem. Hey, don't be giving away my location.
We might have some fans out there. They might see you. Take some pictures.
Yeah, take some pictures. Let them know. Let them know you with Truth and Logic.
No problem. We'll do that. And I did actually want to touch on the Super Bowl thing with Beyonce, but we can do that on another show.
Whew, I think that might be a whole show in itself.
That might be a whole nother show. And then check this out here. We got a surprise for the last show of the month. So, yeah, but we're going to talk to you about that when you get back, though.
For sure, you guys. Hold it down.
For sure. All right, baby.
All right.
And before I go any further into this, so we have Pastor Quinn, super fan extraordinaire, on the phone.
Hello.
How you doing, Mama?
How are you all?
All right.
Hey.
How you doing?
You know what? I'm doing good. How you doing, David?
All right.
I'm glad you brought this thing up about the school closing.
Mm-hmm.
Because, you know, that with so many in so many different areas, but it's amazing how we can moan and complain and talk about what we don't want done. But like you said, you went to a town hall meeting, it was like 25, 30 people out of a place, so there's a whole 3,000.
That's ridiculous.
The school, it's past that. But the school out here on Harlem, Lincoln Way North.
Okay.
You know, they put it out, it was on the news that they were closing at the end of this school year. Well,
they just opened that school up like 10 years ago, didn't
they? It's probably about that. But tell me this. Why has an injunction been filed to stop that school from closing?
You know why? Because people showed up and showed out because they wasn't going for it.
That's right. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm trying to say. When we can show up and show out like in numbers like they did, we don't have to worry about stuff like that. Things can happen. But the other thing you all were talking about is interesting because we brought that up in my restorative justice class. But it's like, why isn't so-and-so put in jail? Why isn't so-and-so? Why is he getting away with this? Why are they getting away with that? The people in Flint. Why does the governor? Why y'all want to put the governor in jail? Why? It's not. It's a matter of who's making the system work. Nobody.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The system works for who got the money.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, when you go to jail, you got money, you can go to a resort as opposed to doing hard time down at Stateville, Menard, or whatever. They, look at some of the folks that's the politicians and stuff that's been to jail. But if you're not putting fuel to the fire, you're not putting a flame up under their behind. You just talking a lot of lip service. Lip service gets you nothing.
Not nothing.
It gets you nothing. But I just wanted to say, I had, when you brought up that thing about Argyle Garden, we got plenty of family that came out of Argyle Garden.
Man, we come deep out the projects back in the day, but the thing is, we ain't stay there though. We ain't stay
but
there.
We didn't stay there. We are not a product of our environment. And I tell people that all the time. They be like, "Oh, you grew up in Cabrini Green." Yes, I did.
Yeah.
Moved there when I was 6 years old.
Yeah.
But so what? I'm retired. I got my own business. And yes, people say, "Oh, you do that," but people gonna travel. I don't care where you are. I don't care what walk of life you in. If you gotta go pawn your child's $250 Jordans to get to wherever you going, that's what you gonna do. So don't tell me you can't shop with me because I'm selling you the same thing that other folks are selling you, and you might get a deal with me, but you got to check it out first. But that's the problem. Everybody has an excuse for not doing what they're supposed to do or what they're asked to do, because there's always somebody else at fault for it.
You asking people to do some work. You asking people to do some work and check it out. They want you to tell them where it's at.
You using that 4-letter word. Shame on you. Everything. Black lives matter. All lives matter.
Yeah.
But it didn't matter when Joe Jack and Timbuktu was shooting at each other like they was at the OK Corral.
Yeah.
And killed each other. It didn't matter then.
Well, that's when we go into the bomb, the black unaccountable male.
Exactly, the black unaccountable male.
How many homeless people do you walk past, and they ask you for something, and you look down at them like, you got to be kidding. Why don't you get them Why don't you go get a job? Why don't you go get a job?
Right. Right.
You know, so it's like everybody matters. Everybody needs to see. The problem is we don't hold enough of the right people accountable.
You're right.
For their actions.
And you know what? Last time we brought this up, I brought up something. I was like, well, you know, maybe it needs to be revamped and say Black Lives Matter too as well. No, we don't need to say that because here's the bottom line: to be pro-black, you don't have to be anti-white. You know,
and that's what a lot of people think, that you got to be anti-white.
You know,
you don't.
You know, but what it means is that we need to stand up and become aware. And too many people are being led blindly for causes.
You know, one of the things I keep hearing, whenever you bring up a murder in the inner city, the one thing I keep hearing, well, white people kill too. And I had to tell, and I'm gonna keep calling her Nurse New Orleans, because either she listening to the show or somebody gonna tell her, and I don't care. What she need to realize is, there's too many black people out here that want to be accepted by white people. They look up to white people. They have no self-worth unless somebody white is accepting them. And of course, when I told her that, the first thing she wanted to talk about was her sister, which she could talk about it just one little case, but that's like that's like if your kid comes out and you ask your kid, well, why did you do that? Oh, well, Johnny did it too. What's the first question? Johnny jumped off a bridge with you?
You would that right?
I swear I heard that enough growing up. I said it before you said it.
I wasn't getting ready to say that. I was getting ready to say, I am so glad that I don't need a person, I don't care what color they are, to validate me. Because people do not believe me when I say, until I went away to college, I didn't know what prejudice was. I really did not. I didn't crawl out from under a rock, and I didn't live with my head stuck down in a hole. I just was raised that everybody was a human being.
Exactly.
And it didn't matter the color of their skin. I had black friends, white friends, Asian friends, Hispanic friends. I really lived in a rainbow community because nobody would believe that Cabrini Green was that integrated.
Well, thanks to the man who you made my father, I was well aware of prejudice by the time I was 6.
Well, I know. Somebody that didn't want to be called a boy, but and would get mad about it. But I mean, you know, it was just, and I'm still that way today. It doesn't matter what color your skin is. It's like I tell people, I bleed the same red blood that you bleed because all of our blood is blue until it hits the air.
What, did you just go biology on them? Come on now, most people don't know that. Stop it.
Most people
then
think
you go trying to educate people and teach them stuff.
That's one thing I learned even before I took the biology class I'm in now.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's just, you know, it's like, and like I said, I can walk into a room with presidents and kings, and I feel just as comfortable as if I walked into a room full of homeless people that I went in there to help.
I thought she was about to drop the mic.
It's nothing for you to act like a human being and to treat another person the same way.
Right.
Dig that.
You know, that the Bible says, no big eyes, no little U's. I don't think I'm better than anybody, and I don't think anybody is less than me.
Dig that.
And I'm going to let y'all get to your next caller.
All right.
All right, baby. Love you.
Love you, too.
Love you guys. Keep
All right.
doing what you do.
And you know what? And I'm glad she said that, because if you listen to a lot of these pro-black, back to Africa, red, black, and green people, that can't stand white folks, and you was to ask them, who do you work for? They work for white folks. If you that pro-black,
go start your own business
exactly.
or work for the black man. But you know what? That goes. Okay, look. One of my fraternity brothers, we were sitting up talking, and we're gonna sail through this next break, people. So you know, just sit back with us, family. Roll with us a little bit. I was talking to one of my fraternity brothers, and he was. I mean, sometimes you need to talk to people, man. I mean, and you know, just let them expand your mind, because just in listening to him talking. Shout out to Jeff Carroll. That alfalfa. You know, hey. We develop leaders, and he just really opened my mind up to. He's an engineer, and he was like, "Look, man, the primary job of an engineer is to problem solve,
right?
And if you notice that when someone's built, he said, it doesn't matter whether you're a chemical engineer, civil engineer, whatever. Your first objective is to problem solve. And so I started thinking about that, and then he went a little further, and he was like, if you've ever noticed when a building is being built, they got to get that foundation together, and it could be a year, it could be 12 months before you start seeing them go vertical.
Right.
And I began thinking. Then he took it a step further and started talking about problem solving. And he said you have to know what your buckets are. And I was like, buckets? What the hell are you talking about, buckets? And he was like, you have to know what your buckets are. Basically, what the problems are that you may encounter.
Right.
And I was like, see, the problem with Black Lives Matter and police brutality, because they all link together, is that we don't know what the problem is. Not enough people want to examine and talk about the problem. Once you start lining stuff up in buckets, and again, Jeff laid this out. He said, once you start lining stuff up, the problem can't hide.
Right.
It exposes itself. Mm-hmm. Until we determine what the problem, because see here everybody wants to build, but nobody wants to lay the foundation.
Right.
So I'm saying nobody wants to put in the work. See, if my car breaks down and I start to work on my car, but I don't know a damn thing about cars, I'm gonna waste a lot of time and money.
True.
And I'm wasting money twice because time is money, right? So
3 times because you're gonna have to
right?
eventually have somebody to fix
pay
it.
somebody to fix it. I need to determine what the problem is first so that I can fix it and pay attention to it and do what needs to be done. We have a lot of people that want to be activists, and they talking, and they're starting to solve a problem that they don't understand.
Right.
They have not identified. So that's why everything that we start building keeps getting knocked down, because we haven't identified the problem. The problem is still hiding in this clusterfuck that we call Black Lives Matter, police brutality, whatever, because nobody really wants to pay attention to and take time to find out what the problem is. Because I was listening to a documentary, and he was and this guy was like, you know, he was trying to address the problems of the community, and one lady said, well, we spending too much time talking about the problems. Well, ain't that what you're supposed to do? You need to what do carpenters say? I'm gonna measure this thing twice, so I only have to cut it once.
Right.
You know, so we need to talk about it. Ain't enough people want to talk about it though.
Well, no, a lot of people want to talk. They don't want to listen. I think that's the biggest problem. And a phrase I heard maybe 10 years ago when I was in the Navy: you got 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. You should listen. You should listen twice as much as you talk. And that's the problem. A lot of people take a little snippet of what they heard, they run with it. Nobody want to do any type of research. Like you said, problem solving. If I told you that my penis was 13 inches long,
there you go.
Are you just gonna run with it?
Why are we going there?
I'm just saying. Are you just gonna run with it just because I said it? But it's. How about this? How about if you hear something, do a little research. Everything that myself, Deron, and Michelle have said, you could go on the internet and you could research this.
Cross-reference it.
Exactly.
Because everything, a lot of you think that because it's on the internet, it's true. If you can't cross-reference it and make it make sense, look, blogs are real and people say stuff. It was a dude, case in point, and I put him up on my Facebook page because, I titled it, I wanted to give stupidity a face, because his thing was black people are discriminated against, and how he knows it is because the 5th letter of their social security numbers are all even. Well, I got white friends who got even numbers, their 5th numbers are even. My wife's 5th number is odd, so I guess my wife ain't black.
She might not be.
You know, even though she's darker than me, but it's dumb shit. And people will run with that and be like, man, that's how they discriminating against, because they'll look at their social security number and be like, man, it is even. And then all of a sudden, everybody's is like, I'm like, so, and what about the people who 5th number is 0? What are they? So, I mean, you got to cross-reference. You got to do your due diligence. And all I'm saying is that I don't care that if you don't agree with nothing we saying, I don't really give a damn. I don't care. My thing is that if you come at me, and I'm so tired of people coming at me sideways on Facebook because of something that they see. If you come at me, man, you better come at me with something other than what you think.
I'm gonna tell you how crazy this is. What's the black Republican candidate? What's his name?
I don't know.
The doctor or something.
Yeah, I know who you're talking about. I've heard him speak once.
And everybody is hating against him. And the only reason because he's Republican. It's the only reason. Because most of you people ain't listened to not one debate. It's the only reason. I've listened to some. Some he sounds stupid. Some he sounds pretty intelligent. But the reason I'm saying that is because black people feel like everybody's supposed to be Democrat. Mm-hmm. But for years, black people were Republican. Mm-hmm. Until Lyndon Baines Johnson said, you get these niggas whatever they want, which is a little bit of freedom. And I guarantee you they'll be voting Democrat for the next 200 years. Mm-hmm. And also I heard something pretty stupid today with then this is why I can't stand feminists. I hate feminists. I hate them to death. They have a campaign now that's saying if you're a woman and you don't vote for a woman, that there's a special place in hell for you.
Oh my God, come on, man.
This is what we're subjected to. But how many women are going to vote for Hillary Clinton just on that? Not look at one view.
Well,
just like how many people voted for President Obama just because he's black? Because you got the Jesse Jacksons and Al Sharptons talking about what we should vote for a black man. Well, if that's the case, why ain't we voting for the Republican? If that's the case, if that's what we're about, why ain't we voting for the Republican?
Well, that's what they about. I vote for who lies to me the least.
Exactly. That's my biggest slogan. Because supposedly, I guess Coward Sharpton is supposed to have a meeting with Bernie Sanders on February 14th. And they supposed to talk about how he's going to help the black community and this Black Lives Matter movement and all this other stuff. Well,
why don't some black people fund the Black Lives Movement? Let's talk about that. Did I just drop the mic on them? We finna go take a break and pay some bills, and when we come back, I think we might have another rant for you.
Are you in need of quality audio?
Yeah, family, that's right. We're coming back at you. Sometimes the truth hurts. Sometimes it'll feel good. Most of the time it makes you feel a little uncomfortable, and that's kind of what we do. The phone lines are open, but I'm noticing that they're a little silent today, family. 888-GO-FOR-IT. That's 888-463-6748.
You know what? Something missing.
Something's missing.
How about we drop that motherfucking beat right about now?
One more time, coming right
what
back
is
at
this?
you.
Is this two rants in one show?
You got a lot on your mind.
How did this happen? I don't know. We go right back into another rant. Wow. Let's see. Selective outrage, right? Now I heard this. I heard this earlier from somebody. We gonna talk about child abuse. And everything leads up into everything. Now, we have some of the most backwards ass thinking that you could ever think of.
Okay.
Now, we say the Jacksons should be glad that Joe Jackson beat the hell out of their kids, and he is what made them into what they are, right?
That's what people have said.
Okay. So with that logic, we should be happy that white folks enslaved us. Matter of fact, they didn't enslave us.
Whoa.
They enslaved our ancestors.
Right.
Because without white folks enslaving the ancestors, LeBron James wouldn't be what he is today.
Did you really just go there with it?
Is this mic on?
Did you just go there?
They don't hear me. They don't hear me. So we gonna justify beating the hell out of our kids to turn them into superstars. But we gonna say, well, white people, they racist. How about the Jacksons made it because of their talent?
Right. Because they could sing whether they got their ass whooped or not.
Exactly.
Michael could sing. Jermaine could sing.
Exactly.
Janet could sing.
Exactly.
Well, unless she can dance.
And Tito can't. But I'm just saying. I mean, but that's why we call this truth and logic, people. Let's use a little logic in this. And just like we talked about the bum, the black unaccountable male, well, me and Deron was talking earlier, we also got the tough, and that's called the unaccountable female. And we gonna lump the females into one big group, whether you like it or not, because you have a lot of females out here that don't have any type of accountability. They shielded. They shielded her. Most women do something and they get shielded. Oh, well, she was scorned. Let a woman go out here and kill somebody. The first thing they want to know is, what happened to her? What man was she running from?
What tripped me out with that is that I heard that women get lighter sentences if they were on their period.
Hold on. Is this mic on? Say it again.
I heard that women get lighter sentences if they were on their period because mentally they weren't. Their mental was off during that time of the month. So if your Aunt Flo is visiting you, you could kill me. I'm not understanding that.
But the men, what do we get? All we get is a bunch of people rallying, a bunch of people that sit up here and march and misspell a couple signs and go out here and look out for the Jamarquavias, the T West, and the Duracells, and whoever you want to talk about.
Stupid.
I mean, let's call it what it is. You know, like I said before, 13%
of the population
commits 53%
of the violent crime.
Exactly. And that number is sad. I don't care how you try to spin it. I don't care how you try to say white folks are the master plan of it. I heard somebody tell me, Miss Nurse New Orleans, well, you know, the police drive around and they just start doing drive-bys, and that's why these crimes are going unsolved. How about no snitching? So no snitching does not play a part in this at all. She even had her nephew killed. Her nephew was killed by one of these black unaccountable men. And she kept saying, well, you know, my nephew wouldn't want him to spend the rest of his life in jail or get the death penalty because he was a church going guy. Yeah, I'm pretty sure when them hot ass bullets was hitting his chest, he said, I hope these guys I'm gonna pray for these guys. Come on now. That's why I said you got to be the dumbest person I ever talked to.
Hey.
And I've talked to a lot of dummies, but with that, let's go on and drop that.
Damn, that shit was dope. But I mean, you know what? And before we wrap up the show, man, it's important that people understand. Again, where the anger and discontent comes from. We're not saying that anything negative that happens is right. We're not. But all I'm saying is that you have to learn to take accountability, to be accountable for what goes on. Because accountability is just like professing an illness. If you don't admit to something, you'll never admit. You'll never cure yourself of it.
Right.
A drug addict will never be cured of drugs until they first admit that they have a problem. Same thing with an alcoholic. Our community will never begin to heal until we first say, you know what, there's a problem. And a lot of people are willing to admit that there's a problem. But the problem comes when you hold the mirror up, for those of y'all looking on the internet. When you hold the mirror up and you say, look at yourself.
Right.
They don't want to see that because a lot of the times what they see, they don't like, and they don't want to admit that, you know what, I'm part of the problem. And I say that we because I'm part of the community that's part of the problem. So until we begin to fix it, there's always going to be, it's only going to get worse. And the same things that we say uplifted us in the 50s and 60s. And one guy, when I threw the stat at him about the murders, he wants to talk to me about white privilege. Okay, look.
Yeah, the blue wall.
I'm not trying to look. Does white privilege exist? Do they get away with some things maybe that we wouldn't or whatever? Do shit like that happen? Yes, it does. It's whatever. However, that ain't got white privilege. Don't have nothing to do with, as my mother say, nook, taking a gun, going out, selling drugs, and you getting in nook, you infringing on his territory that he don't even pay taxes on, and he kill you. That ain't got nothing to do with it. They say, well, you know, we ain't flying no planes in here with the drugs. okay, when people first started saying that in the 80s, that sounded real pro-black. That sounded real. Okay, yeah, enough with that. Let that go.
I got a quick story for you. It was in Atlanta. It was a husband and wife. A pregnant wife. They sold weave. 2 18-year-old girls. They all black. Was trying to rob this man and woman. They knew him, and they ended up killing the husband, wife, and the unborn child over weave. Of course, these stories don't get they don't get mainstream attention because
Black lives didn't matter then.
No, Black lives don't matter. Most people probably don't even realize that Tyshawn Lee killer was charged. They probably don't even know that because we had the whole.
It wasn't the police that killed him.
Right. And your coward Sharpton and Jet Ski Jackson. Just pay attention. Just think. They only deal with stuff that's going to get black people in an outrage. They don't look for any type of solutions. They don't even.
That goes back to what I was talking about, the building, the riling people up, and then you go home. And that's not helping the community at all. And let me show you how economic empowerment works. Because there was these black entrepreneurs, and they were trying to get into the health and beauty aspect of it, the hair weave, the beauty supply stores. And they went to these Koreans that owned the store and said, were like, basically, would you buy our product? And the Koreans were like, no. And they were like, okay, well, what if we gave you 25% discount off the wholesale that you're already paying? The Koreans were like, no. They're like, no. The Koreans hit them with something that would blow your mind. The Koreans are like, it's not about the money. It's about supporting our own.
Right. And that's one thing we don't do. Because how many people go to that little buy here, play here store?
Yep.
Bad service.
Right.
But you keep going back. I mean, we would dog a business because of one little simple thing. You're on Yelp and this place is horrible, and we just dog shit out of them. Best Buy, I haven't been in Best Buy in 4 years.
Yeah, we heard
said
that
it before.
whole story. Yeah,
my money spent like everybody else.
Right.
I don't go to these buy here, play here places where you get your tax card that's gonna break down in 2 months. You go to Walgreens, you get horrible service. Guess what? You're going back to Walgreens. It was a Denny's in Washington State. The only reason I went back is because the manager came and gave us our meal free. And trust me, he did a lot of ass kissing for that bastard waitress. That's what I'm saying. We sit up here, we let the what do you call them? The Arabs come into our neighborhood, open up our little liquor store. They get money off the black community. You got all these little small businesses. The Koreans come in. They doing your hair and nails. They doing everything. That little one black business that you might have in your community, yeah, you'll go there until you get that one day where things might not be right, and then now you're gonna dog them. But them same Arabs, it's an Arab that has a business right on 87th. And I swear, the way he talked to a lot of these people is horrible. But they keep going back. They keep going back. They keep supporting this business. And I think it's sad.
What you got for us before we go?
You know what? We done pretty much said everything. And I know this topic going to probably come up a million more times.
Well, it's definitely gonna come up at on the last show of the month.
Yeah, matter of fact,
we gonna do a wrap up show of our first 13 shows. Well, 12 at that point.
Matter of fact, hey, everybody that's listening, we got a surprise out there. You want to tell them what the surprise is? We ain't gonna tell you what date that we doing.
Basically, what you want to do? No, I'm gonna tell them the date. The last show of the month, we giving away Bulls tickets. We ain't talking about no bullshit. We talking about Bulls tickets, 100 level Bulls tickets. But you're going to have to listen next week and the following week, because we're going to call you. We're going to ask you to call in and give us an answer to a question of something that we say or talk about on one of these last 2 shows. So it's up to you. You want the tickets? I mean, they there for you, baby. But I'm telling you, we doing some things.
It could be this show.
Tickets are being donated.
Next show.
Tickets are being donated. So I mean, we trying to take it somewhere, and all we asking you to do is take that ride with us, family. So. Once again, we on a 6-day, 23-hour break, family, and as always, live life as if you're going to die tomorrow, but take the time to learn as if you're going to live forever. Develop an opinion, think about it, and remember, everything that's black and white is not always black and white. Until next week, I'm Deron.
This is David. Your truth versus my logic.
It's truth and logic, y'all.